When you run a fade, you run a physical fight, a physical battle. When you run diss tracks, have beef and arguments, it is a psychological battle. And a couple of days ago I did a video on what Kendrick did well against Drake. So I thought I'd make the opposite as well, and say what Drake could have done better. Disclaimer, I don't care about the beef or them, I just like their songs, and I bought them individually. Now let's talk about the dynamics and arguments. There are things such as frames, there are things such as stances. For example, you may be on the defense and on the offense. There's a lot of ways to tackle arguments in general, but I'm just tackling this specific situation of Kendrick versus Drake, and a couple of things that would have worked well in this situation specifically if Drake had done them. Now there are countless of things that you could do in any sort of interaction or argument. I'm just going through a couple of them. So to begin with, as the saying goes, the best defense is a great offense. If we think back to the time where Drake still was not publicly defeated, it was when he was still attacking and going crazy. But some words from Kendrick must have got into his head because he suddenly switched up completely to the point that it felt like he was utterly defeated. The last song that he defeated, he was tackling more about how he's talking with no proof, how he's been planted information, and not actually talking about, I don't know, like Kendrick being short or whatever. In all types of arguments, even political ones, you want to be the one attacking, not defending. Because if you're defending, you have no room to attack. So the best thing that people could say is that, oh, he fended off well. They would never say that you defeated the other person. You must be on the attack if you want to defeat. Otherwise, you're just keeping things at bay, at best. Imagine you get into a fade, right? And all of that you do is just deflect the enemy and whatever and block. Yeah, sure, you may not get injured, either of you, very much so, but nothing's gonna happen. So you must attack and attack and attack relentlessly. Be the last one to hit. Until Kendrick released this album, you could say that Drake was the last one to hit with this last diss track. But he wasn't really hitting. Again, he was just more on the defensive and he wasn't as aggressive as he was at the start. One of the things that you can do is be ready to hit back onto the rest of your life. Someone hits you, you hit them back, and they hit you, you hit them again. You don't stop. Be ready to do it for the rest of your life, as petty as that is. It's not necessarily the right thing. That's not what I'm doing here. That's not what I'm talking about. I would be more philosophical if that was the case. I'm saying to win an argument or to win a beef, you're not the one to stop first. Yes, it's more noble and whatever, you know, but that's kind of in movies. When it involves other people in the public eye, you're going to come out like the loser. One last time, I'm talking about how to win in the public eye, but if it was my personal opinion, and in the words of Marcus Aurelius, the best way to avenge yourself is to not become like the wrongdoer. And they're both rappers, so it is their job to be creative. And perhaps my mindset's a little too extreme, but if you're not ready for it, then don't bother. Now play by your own rules. Drake does this half well, half bad, but Kendrick does this fully well. Playing by your own rules means having your own frame, not following another person's frame. Imagine that you and I play a sport, but it's a sport that I created. I will have a great advantage if you're following my rules because I know them better. Well, in a similar way, Kendrick was kind of the one pushing the boundaries. He brought up the family first and started talking about Drake's kid. Drake himself even says something like, "We could have left the kid out of this, don't blame me." And the reason I say Drake does this half well is because he did involve parodies, or he did use AI and things like that. Or on Family Matters, for example, in the video clip, he was crushing a car, and I believe it was some sort of symbolism for like Kendrick's car. I'm not sure, but again, that's initiative, and that's you playing by your own rules. This is actually one of the more important rebutals that Drake could have done. And you should play by your own frame with your chest out regardless of what other people may think or say, and just plant your feet firm. And finally, forget long term. This isn't anything anybody has actually brought up, but the fact that Kendrick made songs like Meet the Grams that are not going to be replayed and that nobody's really going to listen to again, for the sole purpose of destroying Drake. It was a very powerful feat. Yes, it was more boring as a song in general, but what you're looking for here is not ready to entertain people, but to crush your enemy. A lot of the arguments that were going around when the beef was going on was that Drake's songs and diss tracks were more replayable, they had more replay worth. But in a beef, in a diss track, people, when it finishes and when they eventually forget the song, because we don't listen to the same song forever, they're only going to remember one thing. Did you win or did you lose? They won't care about the details. No one cares about the life of another. We just like to get excited about stuff. So again, in this video is with the intention of really wanting that victory. If you really wanted that victory, Drake did this fairly well. He clowned Kendrick quite well, but you fabricate a lot of things. Let's say that, Kendrick wasn't showing proof, you know, and that was Drake's big defense, like, show proof, you know, what's the proof? But if it's really true that the things you're being accused of, you know, PDF file, are not true, then you should yourself just say things are false about the other person and just go for it. Say that Kendrick likes men. say this, say that, whatever it is, right? Just to rile him up. Be more brutal, serious, and condescending, like again in mid-grams. And if you want the ultimate victory, it doesn't matter how many songs and diss tracks you drop. It doesn't matter how much effort you put into all of it, just for in the future half of the songs never to be replayed again. The important thing here is to have the last laugh and to have a victory over your opposition. And to do so, you need to put a stop into the thinking of whether the songs are more replayable if they are impeding your song output and your bars and your beef and whatever. But rather just keep them coming and coming. Look at mid-grams again, it's just the perfect example. The instrumental, quite simple. The flow, quite simple. He just was dark about it and he just destroyed Drake, right, with those lyrics. And then, you know, diss tracks like Not Like Us, he just makes sure to turn it up with the fun, and then that was exciting. So Kendrick was doing this, but Drake didn't. Drake was being a bit smarter and thinking long term about it, but what he didn't think about is the fact that when you lose, you're going to lose a lot of the other long-term benefits anyway, so it's not really worth it. And in the first place, this video is more about how to, you know, not lose and how to like kind of keep it going or like win even. Now, all of this aside, I don't know if Drake would have been able to win even if he applied all of this, just because Kendrick's creativity and all of this are a little bit higher level, in my humble opinion. But these few things would have definitely helped him to get back a bit more. I said on my other video, but I'll say again, ultimately I hope you're not really just that deep into the rabbit hole, like that chronically online, that you put a lot of your attention and emotions into whether like, oh, how can Drake lose, how can Kendrick win, well, how can this and that. You shouldn't care, man. They're not gonna save you or help you in your life, maybe like through the music, but look, it doesn't matter. You have better things to do. This video is just kind of like a intel into how to use some psychological tricks and all the like, but the beef doesn't matter. If you like the songs, you can like them and enjoy them. Maybe it's because I'm not American and shit, but man, I don't care, man. I did a bunch of research for these videos and I know that it's deeper than that, and it's about the integrity and it's about belonging to the black community and all this. But man, I don't know, we care less about these things in Europe, to be honest. Anyway, hope you liked the video. Strive to be 1% better every day, and much love.